face, front true believers. Welcome to the Pitch Nerds issue 100. Big milestone here. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. My hand didn't want to work.
Yes. What are we? We are the weekly show where a couple nerds assemble and bring you the latest in nerdy news, reviews, pitches, and maybe some rumors here and there. I am Cap, and joining me today, as always, best friend, fellow nerd, and real Slim Shady, Mr. Frosty. Mr. Frosty, how are you doing today?
What up, everybody? Thank you for joining us. For those of you that will join us as well, because a lot of people watch our show after the fact.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's our 100th episode. Really excited.
Yes.
I think it's awesome.
And
I'm probably going to have to be playing with a cat the whole time.
That's okay. My dog wanted to play ball the moment, like minutes before we went live. I was waiting for my coffee, and she's all, "Let's play ball now." It's like, no, you know.
Well, I always do. I always let Brimstone out and we do like a full solid hour of play at 9 o'clock, 9 to 10, and then I do the show. The idea is he should be tired out enough because he's a cat,
right? That
he doesn't want to play that, and he'll just chill.
Right.
It rarely works out that way. There's something wrong with this cat. He's just.
Can't you get him one of those automated toys that kind of?
I have those. It's like a feather that sticks out and stuff like that. He likes it, and then like the first night I got it for him, he spent like literally. I could hear him turning it on and playing it. Like 10 hours, like before he got tired of it. It was just all night. You could hear it going vroom, 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 and then he would like grab it, and it would get stuck, and then you'd hear it like fighting. Yeah, and then after like I don't know that playtime, he got bored of it. This sticking thing though, he never gets bored of. It's his favorite toy. By
the simple things, just
a
feather on a stick.
Well, it's actually 3 toys I combined together. I took one of his crinkle balls.
Okay.
I took a feather toy, and then this is the main toy. Is this like zebra thing?
Okay.
And I tied them all together
to make the
ultimate cat toy.
And it's his favorite. Oh, there he goes.
Yeah.
That's funny. Mine just likes devouring tennis balls. That's it. That's her thing. She loves tennis balls.
As we all do.
Yeah. But she'll walk up, like I'll be here on the computer, I'll be typing something, and I hear the distinct sound of a tennis ball, just the bounce of a tennis ball, and I look, and there's Luna, just there wagging her tail with her big bedroom eyes, just, you gonna play? Are we gonna play? Let's play. That's what she does.
Yeah, it's all Brimstone understands is play. It's his favorite thing by far.
Well, right now, all I can think about is sleep. Now, to address the monkey in the room, why am I dressed like a pigeon lady? It's because I'm tired, and it's cold. That's it.
Why a pigeon lady?
I look like the pigeon lady from Home Alone 2.
Home Alone 2, yeah. As soon as you said it, that was what I thought.
The pigeon lady. Look at me. No, my childhood best friend, Andy, fellow nerd Noble, who's been on the show, he turned 40 on Friday, and we celebrated his birthday yesterday at his sister-in-law's house. And
I wish she was here so I could say welcome to the club.
Yeah. So I'm turning 40 on Wednesday, so that looms. But
welcome to the club.
So what was cool last night was it was a 90s themed birthday, and I dressed up as a bartender from the 90s. Yes. What does that look like? Just a black shirt and black pants. Yes.
This guy.
But among the among some of the more interesting costumes, Andy himself was dressed up like Quail Man from Doug, and he nailed it. It was awesome.
I remember Quail Man.
He down to the shoes, he nailed it.
Was he wearing the whitey tighties outside of his shorts?
Yes. He got like a 5XL to make sure it fit around his baggy shorts that he had, and he had the belt. He made sure that the cape had the white stripes at the bottom. It was the coolest thing. There was Dr. Sadler and Ellie Grant, and one that I'm a nerd brain, so I recognized it, but it was I recognized it immediately, and I I don't know, but it was Robin Williams from Jumanji,
Oh yeah.
and that was cool. So yeah, it was fun. We drank muss, we partied muss, ate muss, and
You know those gatekeeper people?
mm,
There. I saw this one girl. She was. I can't remember the name of the character, but she is a DC character, and she was clearly dressed as that DC character.
mm,
And then this nerd was making fun of her. Like, it was like, oh, you girls are trying too hard. You're dressed as the combination of the Joker, the Mad Hatter, and like he thought it was a combination of three Batman villains,
right,
which I could see what he was talking about if we didn't understand the character it was actually about.
mm,
But like, yeah, he was trying to insult her, and it's like, dude, she's clearly dressed as this character,
right,
and B, hot girls are dressing up as nerdy characters from comics. We've won,
right.
you know. Like,
You have nothing good to add by opening your mouth.
yeah, like,
Just sometimes just stand back and admire.
yeah, I right, like just be like the world is a good place, you
Right.
know.
Just people.
Anywho, so
Anywho.
we got a lot going on today. We got some. I'm really excited. I curated some fun nerdy news. I think to talk about mostly casting things. Then we've got Power Girl versus the Thing in Battle Nerds. That's going to be an interesting one. I put some thought into this.
Okay.
And then
Pitches. Pirates of Dark
Pitches,
Water.
a Pirate of Dark Water, and then we are reviewing Flight of the Navigator in Behold Nerds.
Yes.
No show at the moment, so perfect time for Pitches. Although I think Ahsoka's coming out next, so we'll start probably doing reviews on that.
Probably.
Is there anything else coming out soon in the Nerdverse that we should watch? Oh, you know what just came out? I haven't watched it yet, but season 2 of Sweet Tooth is out now.
I need to finish season 1. It was good.
Yeah.
I just stopped watching.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Some of those more serial, like serious dramas and
Right.
stuff like that, you kind of like watch and you're like, this is a good show. I'm gonna see what else is on.
Right.
It's almost like they're too good, like there's
Right.
too much messages and stuff. So I
Right.
get it. It is a good show though. I enjoyed the comics, so I would like to. My problem is it's been so long since I've read the comic or saw season 1 of the show. I've kind of like, wait, what
Blurred it out.
happened?
Right.
Yeah, it's about like people that have like animal parts and nobody likes them.
Right.
Yeah, and you know that's about all I have. The comic is, I feel like, a lot darker. Like the way they portray Sweet Tooth, he just looks like this, like, oh my god, little kid. I know he is in the show, but like
Right.
he really, it's really dark. It's a messed up. I mean, it's about like enslaving children for being different. Horrible.
Oh boy. We have a
On that great note.
on that great note, Guardians 3 comes out this week. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, it's killing it.
Early
in the
reviews are saying it is absolutely wonderful. So
yeah, they're saying
one,
it's like the best part of the MCU is that trilogy.
yeah,
I think Guardians 1 was amazing. I think Guardians 2 was fine.
yeah.
And I'm interested to know where Guardians 3 goes.
So
I didn't have a problem with Guardians 2. I just, like, as an outside viewer, I took my dad to Guardians 2. We watched it.
Mhm.
And then later we saw Thor Ragnarok together.
Mhm.
He doesn't really care for Marvel. He was just doing it to hang out with me.
Right.
And as we came out, he goes, that one was better. So he preferred Ragnarok by quite a bit.
I would say Ragnarok would be the superior movie to Guardians 2. I agree with that. Well, from what I've heard so far in the early review, this is from Mrs. Cap, who listens to a one Grace Randolph, is that the marketing campaign is a bit of a mislead because it's actually a little bit more of a darker movie than they're advertising, because everybody associates Guardians with the fun and ha ha ha, but apparently this one gets a little bit into the characters more. And
I kind of thought it was going to be dark though.
So did I, because you're talking about Rocket and the High Evolutionary, so there's implications.
Yeah, and they
there.
were like, oh, people are going to die in this one and stuff. And
Yeah.
then we had the unresolved thing about Peter and Gamora,
Yeah.
which is already kind of sad. So
Right.
I feel like they were advertising what the Guardians brand is, but I kind
Right.
of knew that this was going to be a sadder one.
Yeah. There is rumor mill that
So we're jumping straight to nerdy news. So go for it.
right. So rumor mill is, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, hypothetically. If I have a feeling that Gamora is going to be written out of this because she's sort of like a variant in this timeline. She shouldn't exist. So I have a feeling that she's going to get written out. But there's a
I think that
thoughts.
they're gonna decide that they're not together and they're gonna part, but they'll both be there.
That that would also be tragic. See, I like that. I like that too. But people are,
Well, because she's not his Gamora,
yeah,
and that's what he's gonna have to come to terms with. I think that's what it's gonna be. Personally.
okay. People are thinking that Nebula and Star Lord are going to end up being the couple at the end. Like the two of them are.
Really?
Yeah, that's the theory.
Okay. I don't like it. I just think that there's never been chemistry between them. So like, why?
All right. But I hope we get to see Walrus because we can see like some otter in the trailers really quick. And in the original go of Rocket Raccoon, his best bud was this walrus named Walrus, and he had little robot arms. So it's James Gunn.
Right.
I hope we get to see something like that because James Gunn
Reminds me of my bear from D&D, like
Hans
human.
But anyways,
They'd be like, there's someone would be like, blah 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 blah. Thanks, Hugh, and I'd be like, it's Duke Man to you,
right. Anyway, shall we jump into some nerdy news?
Yeah, I got tons of stuff. So,
yeah, let's do it.
a lot of rumors. So I'm going to start with those. The one that I've been having the most fun with, and I don't believe this to be true at all, but I love watching Twitter be like, rabble, rabble, rabble.
Right.
Mila Kunis is rumored to play the Thing in Fantastic Four.
Ooh.
Now everybody's flipping out, going, "What?" and like, "What? You woke Disney? Can't believe they're going to do a she thing." And then I'm like, "Yes, a female Thing would be crazy." Oh wait, no, they did that in the '90s. Here's Sharon Ventura. Here she is defeating Ultron. Like, and I've been having fun all over Twitter doing that to nerds. And like, they're flipping out, rah, rabble, rabble, Ben Grimm this, Ben Grimm that, and
right.
like, it's just look. Okay, here's the thing: Sharon Ventura was the Thing for a while. I don't. Did you remember it? Do you know
this is all new to me. So
okay, so Ben was working in. Ben had more or less quit the team, I think, and he was into wrestling, which sounds awesome. Super powered wrestlers competing.
Hey, but we saw that. We've seen that in the MCU. So yes.
Most one because he was the only real one. You know what I mean? Like the others were like people you didn't really know. You know,
right.
like they're all very much F tier characters.
Right.
Like I remember him wrestling Mr. Clean, and he looked like the guy from the bottle, and like some Marvel guy was like, "Fuck, who does he wrestle?" Mr. Clean,
the Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So he's wrestling these loser characters, and he's the best one. But there is another good one. She goes by Ms. Marvel, but it's not the Ms. Marvel. This is Sharon Ventura. She's kind of like just hot and strong, and that's about it. She's similar to Thing, but normal looking.
Right.
Anyway, so she joins the Fantastic Four. They fall in love. They eventually both get mutated. And so Ben becomes even more Thing. He's like super like spiky now and huge. And she gets turned into kind of what he used to look like.
Okay.
Except she's got like boobs, but like she's
rock
wearing
boobs.
she's wearing a thing. But anyway, but it's kind of interesting because you don't really see female characters that aren't hot. I really was interested in that aspect of her. Because she just looked like a rock monster,
Right.
And
you really don't see that a lot.
Yeah, you really don't. Like, and and she didn't look like a shapely rock monster. She looked like the Thing,
Right.
And
you know what? Yeah, I do. I vaguely remember this now. Didn't she used to wear like lipstick or something? Or
no.
What am I thinking?
No. The only thing is she wore a black like one piece and it had an M on it from Ms. Marvel. She started going by the moniker She Thing. They were a couple in the comics for a while. Eventually, Ben managed to go back to being normal Ben, and he decided to quit being in the team. So she was their resident thing for a while.
Right.
My favorite comic was when the team fought Ultron, and she beat him.
That's awesome.
And it was so cool because like the whole fight, Ultron was destroying everybody. She was the only one that could go toe to toe with him because she's the thing. And she ripped up the floor, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing, ripping up the floor? Like that's supposed to impress me." And she's like, "Yeah, it's not the point." And she throws it over. It's like metal floor.
Yeah.
She like throws it over and then rolls him up like a carpet. And then he's like, "What are you gonna do? I'm adamantium." And then he's like, "You can't do anything." She's like, "Yeah, people have been telling me that my whole life." And she starts crushing him into a ball.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so she ends up, and she's like punching the ball, getting it tighter and tighter, and then she's just got this little ball of metal when she's all done. And then she's like, "Yep." And it was one of my favorite moments reading comic books as a kid. So she's a cool character.
Awesome.
So yeah, so I actually
really
wouldn't
awesome.
have a problem if they made a share. My thought process is, if I was going to do this is just my idea. Take Sharon Ventura, have her be the thing. Mila Kunis as the voice is weird because Meg. But whatever. Like, I mean, Meg's a beefier girl, right? So have that be the thing, and then everyone's like, "Where's the thing? Where's the thing? Where's the thing?" Then do a thing like Ben Grimm's solo movie, and then have him return to the fold later. I think that would be cool.
That'd be cool.
It's not real. This is clearly someone leaked, said something, and then this got blown up and blown up and blown up. I've even seen things. I've seen stuff on that's like from official websites saying it's rumored, but I've also seen other websites being like, "Yeah, this is bullshit." I'm leaning towards the bullshit, just designed to upset people.
Right. I mean, shut up, Meg.
But the best part, I mean, she's rumored to be in the Fantastic Four, but the thing part, I think, is the part that's messed up, not real. This one's also a little strange. Voice of Galactus, or to play Galactus, the rumor is they've gotten Antonio Banderas.
So, okay, pause. I can see it. I can see it. The reason why, he has a very square jawline. Just, I can...
But he's the voice of Puss in Boots, and I understand he probably won't do that kind of drawl that he does with.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to drop the suave Latino, man. Like he's going to drop.
Can he? I've never seen it.
Like, so here's the thing.
That man's voice is butter. And the thing is, like, I don't see Galactus as that. Like, I see Galactus as like a James Earl Jones, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, James Earl Jones, perfect. You know, though, Antonio Banderas was the Pedro Pascal of the '90s. Like that he was just.
I suppose I'm just. I want to. I think. Like, this is gonna sound weird because it's an animated cat, but the voice of Puss in Boots makes you want to have sex with it. And I've never thought of myself wanting to have sex with it.
Good night, everybody.
You know what I mean, though? There's a seduction to his voice.
Yes, he's supposed to be. Hey, I'm Puss and Boots.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my chara, my suave. Oh, watch as I, dance. Yeah, he's suave. Galactus.
Can you imagine that though? Look, I'm here to eat your world.
Right.
Like you're just like, okay,
take me.
I don't know. I mean, look. Okay, here's the thing. I never thought of using James Spader as the voice of Ultron, and James Spader's someone that also, when he talks, you just can't help but just be like, you know what I mean? Like, it's actually funny because when they were making the movie, the actors just kept like forgetting where they were like doing and would just stare at him while he talked with their like jaw open. And they were like, they would have to reshoot it because he's supposed to be this big old robot.
Right.
So they were supposed to be looking up here. So it just looked like they were just looking at Ultron's dick.
Oh.
Like he like monologued to them. But you can't help it.
Well, that's normally when
Man,
they
that
stick a
Vader-
flagpole on your back with like a little tennis ball or something. They did that with Thanos.
They,
With,
they did
Josh
that,
Brolin.
but they couldn't. James Spader's voice, you just can't. Did you ever see? Oh God, The Office.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's in that,
Hmm.
and he's just so suave and debonair. He
Yeah.
shows up, and they're like, "You could have the company,"
Yeah.
and like they're like, he was just showing up for like an internship or something. Like,
If I could choose right now a good voice for Galactus, oh, my chocolatey crush Idris Elba. Get
yeah,
him. Yeah. That is.
he's also very good. I
Yeah.
totally see what you're saying.
Because you need.
It's
need
already
that.
been done with Ultron, but James Spader would be my choice.
Mm,
I know, like you can't because it's already been done, but
mm.
I don't. That man, I'm along with the ride. I would be staring at Ultron's dick just because he's so like debonair when he talks.
Right. Mila Kunis is said to be the voice of Galactus because apparently Galactus is going to show up in Fantastic Four.
Well, there is Galactica, daughter of Galactus.
Yes,
Do you remember her?
I do. Remember. Still got the big.
And I love doing that. That's why I was having so much fun with the Mila Kunis thing.
Right.
I love listening to people be like, Rabble, they need to pull from the comic books. And I'm like,
Okay.
oh, yeah, no, they did that. Here's the comic. And then watching them get really mad. And then the other thing I really enjoy doing is when people are like yelling at me, I just like their tweets. Because then they're like, why is he like? I just called him a moron. Why did he like it? Like, and I can just feel confusion coming off of them. You know,
isn't it savory? It's delicious.
It's so good. Yeah,
it's yummy. Yummy.
Anyway,
yummy.
This cracked me up. This came up in the news last week. I'm gonna butcher the last name. I apologize, but Zola
Smith
Marandueno, the guy that is the kid that's gonna play Blue Beetle. Someone was asking him about Blue Beetle, and he said, "This is a direct quote. I think he's the only person ever to get superpowers and not want them." Have you picked up a comic before? Like,
wait a minute.
They all get their powers and don't want them.
Right.
I mean,
Ben Grimm.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't even make sense. Their powers are awesome. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, oh, this curse.
Oh.
It's like
it's to help us not make them. It's to make us not envy them. Like, oh, they have all this.
There's even the trope that in the second movie, the superhero is supposed to give up his powers to get with the girl or whatever, and then has to like overcome that and then take his powers back for the greater good and being selfless.
Yes.
That's an entire trope.
Yes.
Pick up a comic. This kid, like, I like my respect for him, like, oh. You're not a nerd.
Anyways, that's funny. Mila Kunis as Galactus.
This one is this one's a little bit weird too, I thought, but people seem to be okay with it.
Okay.
Josh Glad, he's reportedly been cast as Wonder Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just
isn't he
like okay, look, as a person that is a larger dude myself, we could play the Thing. You know?
It's called typecasting.
Yeah, like, I mean, is he gonna get a superhero bod between now and then, or are they just gonna do like
he's gonna have a
more me-shaped Wonder Man?
He's gonna.
You know what? I say that now. As at first I thought this was silly, but as I just convinced myself, like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
It's just going to be his face, and then on the like wide angle shots where he shows whole body, they're going to have the stunt cock come in. And
no, but like the best part of oh god, not Endgame, the one before Infinity War.
Yeah.
No, it was Endgame.
Yeah,
it was Fat Thor.
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. I just realized, like, yeah, let's have a slightly bigger like character with the powers of Wonder Man. That's fun.
Yeah.
They did it in that one movie. It just wasn't a good movie with Melissa McCarthy and
yeah.
I watched it and I was like, yeah, okay, I like the premise. Like, I think it's an interesting idea to play with, but like, no,
Yeah.
no, the movie just doesn't work.
I think I wanted to see it, but I think you saw it and said, nah. So,
It's just like again, I have no problem with the premise. The idea of like a couple of women who are like
right.
more realistic proportions.
Robust size.
Yeah, but even I would even be fine with it was just more realistic,
Right.
like as your average person, because superheroes are stupid.
Right.
They're Greek gods,
Yeah.
and they're like sculpted, and so I'm cool with the idea, but the movie itself was just too corny and silly, and it didn't work. It was just really bad. It might have been if I watched it as a little kid, I would have really enjoyed it, but as an adult, it was just too silly for me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Anyway, so yeah, I mean, yeah, so Josh Glad, supposedly he's been cast. We'll see.
Sounds woke to me.
Return of the Jedi. Oh, yeah, that's return. That's back in theaters this weekend.
40 year.
Supposedly, it's doing pretty well.
Yeah. Now, is it the original, or is this the super special?
I didn't think about that.
Special edition? Yeah, so
it's bound to be an updated one because didn't like Lucas like demand that all the old ones no longer like exist?
You can't no, none of this revisionist history, Lucas. The holiday special exists. Let us enjoy it.
Yeah,
but it is
well, and like they brought it up before. He used to think like I think, where like you don't even argued for it in court. Like you can't change these movies to color because like they were black and white when they came out,
right?
And now they belong to the people. So, and I agree. Once you create your art and give it to the world, you've given it away. It's up to the world to what it wants to do with it,
right?
And so going back and changing it, I don't know. After you've given it away,
yeah.
Like I guess you can, but you need to leave the history there too.
I know. In the Legends of Star Wars, I prefer the original trilogy. I can appreciate the first line of special editions that came out because we got to see it. For me, it was more the dog fights and everything. Cause they really showcased the space fights, and that's always been my favorite thing of Star Wars. But as far as like the re-editing the exteriors for Cloud City to make it look different, I don't.
I didn't
care.
like the silly CGI stuff. Like I remember like do, and then they like add shit in, and I'm just like, oh no, I just ruined my coffee. I accidentally dripped his ball thing in there.
Oh, no. It's still good.
Well, I'm not drinking that.
Anyway, so fellow nerd Dan has not seen the original Star Wars trilogy yet, and one of the things that I'm going to have him sit down at some point when we have the chance, we're going to watch the original Star Wars, and I watch it all the time when I'm downstairs in my cave. I have the originals on VHS, and they're nice. There's a charm to it. They're very, I would almost say, like they're quaint.
Classic films. Yeah, no, I agree.
They're great. And
nothing will ever top the original trilogy,
right,
in my opinion,
and
is Star Wars.
The two things that bother me most are with what they did with Han Solo, because Han did not shoot first.
The shot.
Han did not shoot first. Han just shot. That's it. There was no standoff. Greedo was threatening. Han said, "Fuck this guy. I'll murder him instead."
It's because he didn't think that was. He was like, "Oh, this is supposed to be a kid's thing I created. That's not a kid thing." And the creator had a different idea. But I agree. Like I said, once you give away your art, you give away your art. That's it.
So now what we have in the special edition is this weird.
You can't tell people what to think about it, though. This is the thing. Like, I mean, if I design a piece and I'm like, here you go, and the world like completely has a different takeaway than me and what my intentions were, I'm not somehow more valid than they are. Like, I hate it when people do that. They're like, well, the original creator, blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, but like, it doesn't matter. It's what did everybody think,
Right.
Like, and it's not even what did everybody think. It's what did you think. It's art.
Right. Now, art is subjective.
It's totally,
it's subjective. So it makes people feel different things. I just don't like this weird edit cut to make this weird skip so that Han dodges the bolt from Greedo. It's so it's
and
so
originally
weird.
it just like went here, and then it was like, well, that guy was a shit shot.
Right.
Like,
No, he didn't even in the original.
but for me though, definitely the weird monsters though. That's the like when they're at Jabba's palace and it's like it's the CG and oh god,
so
like,
weird.
whoa.
Yeah,
It went from being this cool kind of Muppet thing that looked interesting,
right,
to being this silly cartoon.
So you know what's funny is that the special editions are almost more outdated than the original version, because the original version, even though the special effects are a little bit, some of them are dated. That's fair. It's over 40 years old, but ILM they developed the technology to make this crap, and if you see, like, they invented all these cameras and these different shots to use in this movie. So the whole, like the Falcon coming into the hangar of the Death Star, that was filmed in front of a blue screen, but that was a prop Falcon and being shot through like a prop, like a hangar to scale. Like that's cool. It looks awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. Interested to know if anybody's gonna go see the movie. Are you gonna see it in theaters?
No, I have.
Okay.
I have my Return of the Jedi downstairs.
No, I know. It's just fun to go see stuff in theaters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If we'll see.
So, this is a cool one. I thought we were just talking about her as Nebula, and then, but Karen Gillian, who's, I think, she's worked with Gunn, obviously, because she was Nebula. Mm-hmm. So this is possible, I think, because directors like to work with people they know. Although Gunn's getting destroyed over that, and it's like every director does that,
right?
Like, you know, like
they're just looking for reasons to.
I know.
That's exactly what it is.
Anyway, Karen Gillian says she's interested in playing Poison Ivy in the DC.
Ooh, she'd be great for that.
Great for it, right?
Oh, like, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That would be really. That would be really good casting. Plus, it would be fun to see her as a villain. I guess she is,
well, sort
Nebula,
of,
but yeah, but I guess I've seen her as in a lot of other roles, and so
she was great.
I like her. I think she's great, and keep her natural accent too. I think would be an interesting.
Yeah,
I guess that might piss off people because they'd be like, "Oh, she's not from there," but like, who cares?
She's still white, guys. Like, pick and choose your battles. Like,
So anyway, IGN can confirm that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 includes the first instance of the MCU where characters say fuck. So that's something to look forward to. I'm going to be in the movie and I'm going to hear it and go, yay!
So, the one, if you're to look at all of the MCU movies up until this point, the one line that has stood out for me above all else, and it was so weird, like you're sitting there watching this movie and you hear this line, it's like, holy shit, like how did Disney okay that? Iron Man 3, when Tony Stark is talking to the little kid Harley, and he says something to the effect of, "Oh, quit being a little pussy."
Yeah.
Like, ooh, where did that come from? Like, you didn't expect it. It's just
funny story. one of my best friends. I think of her as my best friend. Like you're my brother, she's my best friend.
Yeah.
Like, but anyway, so she got a her kids know that I love comics. They just know that that's my jam. And so they were like at Target, and her like little girl, like toddler age, she's like, you know, Uncle Frosty, and she's like showing her this DVD of Justice League War and saying that she wanted it, like, and like, yeah, and so she's like, fine, okay, thinking it's just like, you know, these are comics,
right?
And then like, and so they're in the car, and she's got one of those cars where the kids can watch the TV on behind them, and so she's got the DVD in. And she's just driving, and then she's like listening to it, and someone calls Wonder Woman a whore, and like, and she's like, "Whoa!"
Pulls the car over.
Yeah. she's telling me, she's like, what do my kids watch because of you? And I was just like, so can I have that DVD or if you're not using it?
Like, I'll take it off your hands.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
I explained that not all of this content is designed for kids just because it uses the same characters, and
Right.
I recommended some more kid-friendly ones.
Right.
Because there's plenty that are perfect for her daughter's ages. You know?
Is that Superhero Squad? That's a good one.
Yeah, Superhero Squad. There's there's one that I know they would have loved at that age, which is it's kind of like a My Little Pony thing. It's like young girls who get, and it's like one of them is Wonder Woman, one of them is this, and it's the girls from, and they fight other girls supervillains, and it's very pink and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, this is where I get annoyed because people are like, "Oh, it doesn't have to be pink for a girl." No, but those girls loved it.
Mm-hmm.
They loved that whole. They love My Little Pony. They love crowns. They love unicorns and rainbows.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. That is like I used to sit there and draw My Little Pony with her and stuff.
Yeah, my youngling was the same exact way.
Yeah,
with My Little Pony, and you know this.
Yeah, we've talked about it before
extensively.
Last thing I got in the news: Andy Samberg.
Mm-hmm.
This is confirmed is going to be the voice of Ben Reilly in Across the Spider-Verse. Which, yeah, I'm down. I like Andy Samberg.
What did he do?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Okay.
His character is great. My favorite. Did you ever watch that show?
I've seen a couple episodes, but
dude, you just go and watch it because trust me, like you don't realize how funny it is. The best part of that entire show was they did these cold opens that were just jokes, and there's one where like he's because he's a cop. He's in with a woman, and they're doing the lineup behind the glass.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, okay, like, do any of these men look like it? And then she's like, no, I only really heard his voice. He was singing the Backstreet Boys, You Are My Fire. And he's like, yes, I'm familiar with it. And he's like, number one, could you sing? And he's like, are you serious? And he's like holding the thing. He's like, yep. And he's like, you are my fire. And then he's like, number two, my one. These, and they start singing it in line, and then he's like, woo, number three. And then like he's like, keep it going. And then he starts singing, tell me why. And they jump in as a chorus. And he was like, oh, it finishes. He's like, oh, chills. And then she's like, that's him. Number five is the man who killed my brother. And he's like, oh my God, I completely forgot about that. It's so good.
That's funny. I'll have to look that up. Sounds hilarious.
Anyway, so after that recreation of Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
tell me why.
What do you guys think of Andy Samberg? I'm excited.
That's cool. I can't wait for that movie.
There's some reason that one of my friends doesn't like him, and I never asked why. And I'm like kind of curious because I'm like, I was talking about that show once and how great it was, and he was like, oh, I hate him. And like he had like some kind of grudge, like he did something like.
Ooh, okay.
And so I'm like,
there's trauma there.
There's like,
definitely some type of deep-seated trauma.
Yeah, did he say or do something that was offensive to that person? Like, I'm interested, but I've never bothered to like look it up or ask that person. So.
Right.
Anyway, because he's one of those people that doesn't like a lot of things, so I'm just like, okay, you just kind of blasé about it, you know, like.
Right.
Anyway, so
I'm not sure. I think you mentioned this on I believe last week, but there's images from the part 2 of Dune just dropped, and I was looking at those with Mrs. Cap. They look cool. I've never read the books, but I think the interesting is universe, or the universe is interesting. In
Dune. Totally.
Good Skippy. Like Mrs. Cap was telling me some of the tech and like more of the universe stuff about Dune, and good God, it's just cool. It's just I thirst for more
universe.
sci-fi.
The books are long though, and it's hard to get through because it's a lot of world building.
Yep.
I've tried to read Dune. It's one of those books, you know. It's like I was like I should read all of the. Oh God, what's the show?
Harry Potter.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
I'm like, I should read all of those books, and then I tried. I just never got through. Like, I don't know, it's hard. Like
It's
some
like
books,
Tolkien stuff. Like I couldn't get
some
through.
books, yeah, I just absorb. Like,
Right.
and then other books, I'm like, no.
But
Anywho,
looks exciting.
what was I thinking? Should we jump into something? Battle nerds, behold nerds, or our pitches? Should we do our pitches? Since I guess like
Let's
we've been kind of
let's do our pitches. We are the pitch nerds.
okay. Before we go to pitches, by the way, 100th episode. Thank you to everybody that's been supporting us. This idea was submitted to us by at Bubba _ Greek Hero. But we've also want to do shout outs to at Right Peaceful, Spookified. I'm gonna not say at Real Super Killers, Beetleburg, Inkboard Studios, Neko Meowster, Impact Comics, Project Access, and at Rob0797. Thank you guys all for supporting the show.
And Richard and the fine folks at Smoking with Frogs.
Yes. And just also our buddies that have like come on the show with us, like Nick and Noble.
Yeah.
And
Richard.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day because it's been really, really fun. I've loved doing this with everybody.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. So originally, when I had the idea for this show, I wanted to call it the Shut Up and Take My Money podcast or something like that. But it was you actually came up with the name Pitch Nerds.
Well, I think it was a combination. Like I was like nerds pitch, and then you're like the pitch nerds or something like that.
No,
yeah, I remember we were like ding,
Eureka!
Yeah.
No, it's been fun. But good grief. Yeah, it's been fun. We pitched things. Our first pitch was Star Wars. And mine was like 6 hours of just Star Wars.
Yeah, it's really long.
But
I created a character though, and I still think about it sometimes.
Yeah,
but
it's fun to kind of reflect on those. But
yeah. So all right, well, so this is Pirates of Dark Water, on the alien world of Muir. It's being consumed by dark water. But like, what is it? A group of misfits.
Yeah.
An unlikely group of misfits.
Right.
It's high adventure. Yeah, it's great. So we're doing that. It's a cartoon from the
Hanna-Barbera. Early
90s,
very
it was
early
kind
90s.
of ahead of its time. Really cool ideas. Really inventive. Very Star Wars, but like pirates. So I know you've been putting a lot of thought into this. Did you want to go first?
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't write things down structurally. I have like a concept of what I would do if given keys to this kingdom, because this show unfortunately never had a conclusion, and that's a shame. So you have Ren, who is the son of this king of oh my goodness, Octopon, I believe is the city.
Yeah, the king's name is King Primus.
Yes, cool fucking name too. Good God, like there's cool names, like everything about this world, and it sucks that you can't find any of the full episodes online unless you want a whole bunch of.
I found the first one.
Okay.
But you can also buy the DVDs and stuff like that. So it is possible to get a hold of them. Just my money is a little cash strapped, so. But I did as much research as I could.
Yeah. So how I see this is, they have the MacGuffin quest, and that's essentially the show. There's 13 artifacts that are capable of thwarting the Dark Water.
The 13 treasures of rule.
Yes, the 13 treasures, and the show is
rule.
Of rule. So we're following them, and they go to like the Monkey Bird Island. There's all these different islands that are just each interesting, their own little civilizations in and of themselves, and it's fascinating. But
the plot in the cartoon is Dark Water is eating their world.
Yep.
To stop it, they need to get the 13 treasures of rule.
Yep.
And they're being pursued by Bloth,
Bloth,
who is the main villain aboard the Maelstrom.
Cool name.
And
His ship is badass, by the way. He's got like
yeah, and,
the drop pit with like a fucking serpent inside it. It's
yeah,
super
yeah,
cool.
yeah. And it's an alien world, so there's like leviathans and sea
Yeah,
serpents, and like they fly around on dragons, and their ship is alive,
yeah, just
and
super cool.
because it was made from like living wood or something like that, so
Yeah.
it's got its own mind.
So
So yeah,
I I would treat this as almost like the Deathly Hollows, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hollows, because that whole part 1 and part 2 is the MacGuffin quest, but it's still an interesting MacGuffin quest. It's not like the last Star Wars movie where they had to find a thing to find another thing to find another thing, which just brought them back to this thing on Endor. It was dumb. So handle it like Deathly Hollows, where and even do like a part 1, part 2, just so you can give an opportunity to let this franchise really breathe with the lore. Um, I do like so after they assemble, I think they needed like 5 more artifacts or
yeah, I can't remember the amount, but he's freed half of the planet from the dark water
yeah.
at the ship.
So what how I would see this going is they would return back to his original lighthouse, and I think his name is Taron, the Supreme Ecomancer, who is badass. He's sort of like the Obi-Wan figure, I guess, but he's more of a uh, teacher figure to Tula, who's another Ecomancer.
Tula, yeah, because she's the Echomancer.
Yeah, so it's been established in this universe that his staff that he has with this gem, if he harnesses the sunlight, can damage or can impair the dark water. So have him during some epic fight. They're having to race back to the lighthouse to because this dark water is coming from inside the planet. There's my goodness, the bad guy, the Dark Dweller, is the guy who's sort of like the agent of the dark water, and Bloth is sort of like his the Darth Vader character, if you would. So if Bloth is the Darth Vader character, Morpho would be the Emperor. So find them going back to the lighthouse, which is a gateway into the going down into the planet itself, that Taron's staff is capable of penetrating. Like that was his whole moment. So he would have to put his staff down because it's a lighthouse, and this crystal can affect can harness the sunlight to kind of push away the dark water so that they can run into the planet, and that can be a sacrifice moment. And they would just go into the planet where they would find the Morpho, and maybe he gives some exposition. Maybe it was Earth all along. Like, I think that'd be cool. Almost treat it like Adventure Time, where Adventure Time is Earth in the distant future.
I guess I like it being like Star Wars.
So
like maybe a long time ago.
So the reason why I chose not to do that is because it is clearly a different planet. You see like a ringed planet in the background when it's night.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not a passable Earth. So I forego that. But have it be a journey.
That was the Battlestar Galactica thing that they did. Like, oh, they showed up on Earth in the end. These are our ancient ancestors.
Right.
Yeah, and Starbuck was an angel? Like, what?
She can sit on my face. What is it? So yeah, so just have them go down. They can Ren can have the big epic fight. So what I was thinking is his sword that's broken, had that be a key to unlock the door that leads to like the Earth's core or something, that where the dark water was originally came from. And
yeah.
You can work in some type of eco-friendly message where maybe, like, even though it's not Earth, like their distant ancestors nearly destroy the planet with fossil fuels. You can go Ferngully and be preachy about it. And with this broken sword, it's the key to open up this thing so they can access the chamber where this dark water was released from, and they can either drive it back or just destroy completely. I think it'd be cool to have Morpho fighting, what's his name? Ios. Just have an epic fight. I don't want Ios to get killed, but I wanted to maybe lose like an arm or something. I think that'd be cool. Like, don't straight up kill him. Like, don't do what they did to Han Solo, but hurt him. Just shake him up a little bit, and then Ren can jump in and save the day, and Tula, because she's now the new supreme ecomancer. She can be taking care of all the dark water while you have the heroes taking down Morpho. I think that'd be awesome. I want to see that.
All right. It sounds very cool. You went in a direction I didn't think of. And well, like, yeah, I'd watch that. Sounds like who are you thinking, like, director wise? And do you have any actors in this?
So, Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah,
pick.
it's
Too.
just,
This is perfect.
he's perfect. Absolutely perfect for this. It's perfect. As far as characters go, Ren should be. I was gonna say Tom Holland. No, I haven't given too much thought into the actual characters. Oh, you know who'd be?
You know what though? I want Antonio Banderas or Pedro Pascal as Ayaz, and I want Mila Kunis
as Tula.
What's her name? Tula.
All right.
As for Ren, I want an unknown. I want him to be a blank slate.
How about Niddler?
Oh, Niddler. I was gonna say Sean Connery. No, it can't be him. It's got to be someone with like a squeaky, silly voice. Someone like some comedian that like maybe people know that can do it and like and is as recognizable sounding voice.
Yeah.
I don't know, Seth MacFarlane. Like,
yeah. Okay.
He could do like a silly kind of fun voice.
Yeah.
For Niddler.
So what do you got? What is the Frosty's Pirates of Dark Water?
So we open and there's like a fishing boat and they're out trolling and and singing songs and having a good time, and then like this one fisherman, like his pole goes into the water. It's like, what? And it's dark. And he's like looking down, and then he sees there's a patch of water that's darker than the rest of the water, and it goes whoop, sucks him in, and then like they're like, well, what happened to Bob or whatever? And like and then like all of a sudden like the whole ship gets they're all getting ripped, and they're like dark water, and they're trying to like drive away, and like they got the sails down, and then but it's too late, and their ship gets pulled into the dark water. And then like as that's happening, like my credits are rolling and stuff like that, and we cut to the Wraith, which is their
ship. Oh yeah. Ren ship, the Wraith.
Yeah, they're in Jonda Town, and they're recanting a tale. Well, Niddler's recanting a tale about them and how great they are and everything like that, and they're drinking and partying, and it's like pirate town and everything like that. And so I think at that point what I would do is I would just do a small version of the show in the movie, like it's just a retelling. So I would take one of their kind of fun adventures, do it, and it just shows who these characters are, what they're about, and that kind of thing. So, but not long. This is almost like just Niddler telling this cool story, and like I would just and they would be like, well, it's like a story within the story, and then but then it cuts to them, and a woman walks up to this beautiful ecomancer, and she tells Ren there's a whirlpool, and it's like known because it sucks in all manner of beasts and man and ship and everything. And she says, but because you are the child of Primus, you can withstand the whirlpool. And at the bottom is as one of the 13 treasures rule on the crown of Primus. And so, and I also think this would be a cool thing. You could do a throwback to the show, because you could be like, oh, the Ecomancer is from that episode where they met that Supreme Ecomancer you were just talking about. So, like, have her portrayed as she was in that, Anyway, so they go on this hunt for this thing, and like, sure enough, it's like, and he's like, oh yeah, it's there. But while that's happening, Bloth. We see the maelstrom, and I'm going to do it just like so. After that whole thing happened, we see the first shot of the maelstrom, and it's just going and going and going and going and going and
Nice.
going and going and going. Total throw it out to Star Wars,
Right.
and it the Star Destroyer, like just do exactly that, but with the maelstrom.
That's awesome.
And then it cuts in Velocibra, like anyway, he's talking on a crystal ball, and then we cut to that Ecomancer girl, and she's being held at knife point by those. God, I had it written down somewhere here.
Those two
by Kong and the Lug brothers.
Yes,
and so they're holding her at a knife point, and it turns out that basically she's working for Bloth against her will, and she was supposed to send them that way. So Bloth's whole plan, well, you'll find out. So anyway, so they get to the whirlpool, and they're fighting the whirlpool. Oh, and the thing is, the Ecomancer said because they have Tula, who can control the tides a little bit, and then Ren's bloodline, they should be able to navigate the waters. So there's this cool scene with them fighting, doing that. A Leviathan shows up, and maybe the ship detaches and they glide, and just awesome
just cool shit. Yes.
Yeah. So then, anyway, they get to the bottom, and then Ren sees the treasure, he grabs it, and then they come back up, and the ship emerges victorious, and we're like, yeah. And then, but what happened?
Right.
And they grabbed the whole time. Oh no, what are we doing? Bloss here, blah blah. Like, oh shit, where's Ren?
Right.
Where's Ren? And they don't have him. So it cuts to Ren, and he's living his ideal life. And he's a prince. His dad's there. They've saved the world from dark water. So it's like everything's great, everything he ever wanted. And we see the backstory of Ren, the character. So this is how I do a show not tell thing.
Right.
And so we learn about Ren and his thing. Anyway, it turns out that this portal, it was actually a trap designed by Bloth. Didn't need the treasure, knew only Ren could do it. But the thing is, this whirlpool is a living being, a part of the planet itself, and it feeds on things and then uses that to grow. And you don't realize that you're being fed on by the whirlpool because it gives you this fantasy version of what you want it to be. So he's locked in that.
You know what else does that? The Sarlacc pit in Star Wars.
Yeah, also the Superman comic, and I'm pulling from a lot of
that's interesting though. I like it.
It's a comic trope, but I just thought anyway. So Bloth has Ren, who's clutching the crown, out of the thing, because fishes him out of the whirlpool, and he's like, and he's like, put them to death, to Tula and Ios. They tried to maybe stage a fight out, but they failed. So everything's going bad. He rips the gem off. They're like, Ren, wake up! We need you.
Right.
And then he has the gem in his hand, and he slides it into his pocket, throws him back into the water. And they've moved the ship at this point, and so there's dark water. Right. He throws him down to feed him to the dark water, blah, blah, blah. And then he lands, and then the water eats him, and they're like, no, Ren. Cut to the world, and Ren realizes this isn't real. I gotta help my friends. And he's like, you must go, son. And then so we have that conclusion moment,
right?
And then they're like, no, they run to the edge and see that Ren has been consumed. But all of a sudden, dun, 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 dun. And then and he comes out, and he has the gem. He fucking pocket-picketed it from Bloth and used it to fight the Dark Water. And he's like, you won't beat me that easy. Shink. Awesome battle on the ship. They get out. Day is saved. But we do have a moment where we realize what Ren had to go through, and this is his arc. He had to overcome giving up everything he ever wanted, which would have felt like ripping off your own arm, in exchange to saving his friends, which is what truly mattered.
Right.
And then, they sail off. Dun, 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 dun. Where's the next treasure? Pew! And then they go.
So that's awesome, man. This was an interesting little franchise to look into, especially as creators. It's one of those things where I remember watching as a kid. I just now that I'm older, I didn't remember much of it until revisiting it. And we've talked about this on the show before, where like every 5 years or so, I'll be like, "Hey, I remember that one show," and then I'll try to find it, and it's like, "Huh, apparently I've already done this before." It's a weird.
Yeah, for me, I've already
loop.
forgotten the name of what it is. I looked for as I remembered that show where the guy had the glider that was also a shield.
Yeah.
And I couldn't remember. It turned out it was a 4-episode miniseries. Like I had seen sometimes when I was a kid.
Right.
I finally refound it and I watched the 4 episodes. It's not as good as I remember.
But it made you who you are today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of not as good as what I remember, let's go into Beholder. No, just kidding. But anyway, did you like my pitch?
No.
Again, Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro. Did you have any casting ideas? Actually,
well, like I said, I think Mila Kunis would be a fun tour. And then either Antonio Banderas or Pedro Pascal for my Ayaz, and then a new face
like
for Red.
A new face. So I forgot what I was going to say. We're doing Superman next, right?
Superman, yeah, that's going to be our next one. Cool. So yeah,
want to do 2 weeks? Do Superman?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a show next week. I could probably come up with something between now and then. I mean, if you could.
Oh, it's what's next week?
I don't know. What do you mean?
We don't have a show next week. What's next week?
No. I mean, we don't have a show to review next week.
Oh, I was going to say, wait. I plan on being here next Sunday.
No. I just mean we don't have anything we're
okay.
reviewing. So
yeah.
we could do it. I'm down with doing another pitch. I mean, just might, they're like, yeah, we can just discuss concepts or whatever, or we could just discuss our pitches next week and then finalize them the week after.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, that'd be fun. Cool. Get back to pitch.
So then, let's see what else. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, Battle Nerds. Or we could do Behold Nerds.
Let's do Behold Nerds.
Okay. So Behold Nerds is our book club. Essentially, we take turns picking movie ideas and then we review them, watch it, and even if we've already seen it, we rewatch it, and then we review them and discuss. It was Cap's pick last week. He picked Flight of the Navigator.
Yes.
So I've watched. This is a movie I only ever watched in school.
Okay.
You know, when it was like at the end of the last, they would put it on and we would just watch it.
So
sometimes
or like Fern Gully or something. It's like one of those types of movies.
In art class, like my teacher would put on a movie and we'd watch it while doing art.
Yep.
So yeah, so I've seen it that way, but I haven't seen it in a long time, so I rewatched it. This is one of your favorite movies. Like, tell us why.
As a kid, so when I chose this because we got to see what Colin really liked watching the Crow and Edward Scissorhands. So I would put these in the same category for me. So Flight of the Navigator. It's one of those movies where, as a kid, I'd watch The Goonies, I watched Short Circuit, I watched Flight of the Navigator. Just fun, like adventure movies, and that's sort of where my brain went. And I think this is what really got me into almost like entry level sci-fi, and plus
I get it. Yeah,
it's totally. because here's the thing, my dad worked in aerospace, and they actually use speed of light theory, where and I suppose we just jump into the premise of the story. You have Max, voiced by Paul Rubin, is this advanced spaceship that was just looking at some daisies, wanted to find a human to do some tests on with a bunch of other species it's collected, and it crashed into an electrical tower and caused it to lose its navigational charts. So what it did was it put its navigation, all of its star charts, inside the brain of David, and hilarity ensues. There's a time jump. Again, when you're traveling at the speed of light, time slows down. So I thought that was an interesting premise. Like, back then I saw that and I was asking my dad about it. My dad would explain, essentially Einstein to me as a kid. I love that.
I didn't even pick up on the time dilation thing that much as a kid. I don't even remember the whole plot of him needing to go back in time.
Yeah.
I just I mostly remembered him flying in the ship talking to him.
Yeah.
So that's how long it's been since I've seen this.
Mm.
I agree. It was an interesting idea. What surprised me was when Sarah, what's
Jessica
her name,
Parker.
whatever,
Yeah.
yeah, shows up, and you're like, oh wow, and she's like 16 or something. You're like, wow, like
Wow.
and yeah, and then they captured that. She's like, sup, and
Right.
blowing bubbles, and like it captured that like 80s like kind of hip, fun fantasy girl that like you could see everybody being into at the time.
Right. Right.
Um, yeah, and here's okay. Here's the thing for me though, like I'm like enjoying the movie for the most part. I'm
Mm.
like, I have some interesting ideas. It very reminiscent of ET and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the ship downloads his brain, and then it turns into Pee Wee Herman,
It's great.
and I'm just, and it's like, ha ha, and I'm just like,
It's so jarring. Like,
it's so jarring.
so here's the thing. This movie used to creep me out as a kid, and specifically the scenes where David's at the NASA facility and he keeps hearing Max talk to him almost telepathically, and it's in this
Yeah.
weird digital voice. And good gravy. I remember the first time I watched this movie, that scared the crap out of me. Like, I had a hard time sleeping after that because it just terrified me. Just that weird, just hearing that voice in my head. And it's the music is really good in this movie. It really does kind of set the tone and just
Music's good. The effects are were cool for their time.
I still think they hold up pretty well.
They do, and like you sometimes because the ship's highly reflective. Like there are sometimes where you can see the camera crew, but it's pretty minimal.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's and I can see as a child this being like the super best because it's that dream fulfillment. Like you like there's a kind of like bit of like unsettlement which they did because the whole time travel thing like that would be scary as a kid.
Right.
But at the same time, then it opens this world where you're this like you can control this ship and you have your robot friend and your cute little buddy in your pocket.
Right.
And and yeah, you're like get us out of here. Like yeah, and there's a fun like 80s fantasy girl like what's up, buddy, popping bubble gum and like do you want Diet Coke, Cherry Coke, and all that stuff. So I get the appeal of this movie. I think
but you know what, I wouldn't, because she helped him escape.
She did, but
So
what I'm saying is, I'm not saying her character. I'm just saying that archetype was played to perfection.
Oh yeah.
Everything in this movie is kind of perfection, and that's the magic of the movie.
Right.
Is because it's all tropes, but this is like it doesn't matter. It puts them all together in just this sweet package.
Right.
And like, we need to get that kid, and like, and then it's.
So
it's perfect. And then you've got this magical thing. The only flaw I think in this movie, and it's a pretty big one in my mind, but I wouldn't have cared as a kid.
Right.
Is the whole plot hinges on okay, we need to get you home.
Right.
And so they're trying to like find home and everything.
Right.
And so they finally do. And then he's like, I can't come here. And he goes back into the ship, and then it's like, well, we can turn back time, but it's too risky. You gotta risk it. That was the whole plot, was you couldn't do that, and then you're just gonna do it, and then it just works out.
Right.
That to me was the only flaw in this movie. Is they should have gone with the resolution that he goes back with his family at a later date, or found a more clever idea than. Yeah, but we're just gonna ignore that rule and do it anyway.
Right.
That's my only one gripe.
So
but the movie's magic, and as a kid, I wouldn't have cared.
I think I can forgive it for the reason where in my head it makes sense as a story because he lands, he's there he sees his family all grown up. You got all the NASA guys, you got all this crap going on, and he's stepping into that it is his family, but it's not his home. That's not where he belongs.
Right,
So
I get that, but
I think it took him seeing it was what really made him realize, no, I cannot step back into this, and that's what maybe convinced him
you
to.
can't establish a rule and then just say it doesn't matter. That's the part that,
Had there
like,
should have
find another solution.
right. I mean, maybe when he was dropped back off, maybe he was missing a finger or something, and just it didn't go all that well, or maybe his hair was a different color. I don't know. Maybe he has superpowers. Maybe he fused with the eyeball monster that scared the crap out of me as a kid. Just
I don't know, like,
I
yeah,
see what you're
maybe,
saying.
like,
There should have
age
been
him up,
yeah
maybe age him up, and then, like, he gets the memories of a life that he once could have had or something,
yeah
and then so it's just like, but he remembers the navigator as his, like, childhood memory.
right
I don't know, but just saying, "Oh, we can't do this," and then doing it anyway, and then it works out,
yeah
bugged me.
yeah I get it, but one
Well,
thing
I loved it. I thought it was magic. I thought everything they did just worked to perfection. All the tropes were just done just right.
my
This is a lightning in a bottle scenario.
it's great, and with quantum, as I'm writing all this out, I realized, holy shit, there's a little bit of influence here from Flight of the Navigator. Just spoiler alert
Well, I
for
think
things
it's
to
an
come. It's
influential sci-fi film too.
so what I really liked about Flight of the Navigator is the ship itself, Max, because you think Star Wars, everything is very linear. Well, what I liked about this ship, even as a kid, is it can do this. Like that to me feels alien because that's something we can't achieve yet, but we can see something that almost mimics that movement with drones, where it's just things aren't.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
like it's like liquid metal,
yeah,
and
it's
yeah, they had some cool ideas. I also just the lore that it's a ship that goes around to learn,
right,
and like so it takes these creatures, learns about them, and then deposits them back to where their previous time,
right,
and yeah, and normally there's no problem, but there was a problem this time,
right.
and that's where the whole story happens. I think there's a lot of cool ideas, cool lore. Yeah, and like I said, and then the stuff that is a trope of the 80s, it's done in just this
It's
delightful,
savory, delicious. Even the
yeah,
younger
yeah,
brother is a
way.
bully, which is great. I love the younger brother as a bully.
Yeah.
Like that's funny.
And just them like fart face and all that, and
Scuzz bucket.
yeah. But the Pee Wee Herman aspect, that just, it was so grating when it happened. And like the I know you are, but what
What
am
about
I?
it?
And then
And
and
I liked him more when he was serious. Like it was fun a little bit. Like I
yeah,
liked him more as a
yeah.
kid, but he before he did the mind scan, he was the character Max was kind of scary, little menacing. He's this cold robot that's just
True, true. I could see him being more fun once for a kid.
yeah,
I can, yeah. I'm trying to look at it through a child's eyes,
yeah,
and I can see a lot of those things. Like I said, the plot issue I have wouldn't have mattered to me.
right.
I would have just immediately accepted that for face value.
Mm.
And then the other one, being, yeah, Pee Wee Herman, I would have been like, oh, this is fine,
Right.
you know. Like,
But you know what though, it the comedy it turns it on. Like once the movie reaches that point, right after the mind scan is full Pee Wee Herman. That's it,
yeah.
Davy. Favorite scene, the gas station scene. I can watch that right now and still laugh my ass off. It is such
Yeah, that was a good scene. That was a good scene.
that's
Yeah.
such a great scene. So I'll set it up. They're trying to make their way back to Fort Lauderdale. I think they finally reach Florida because it's like Al's like Gator Farm or whatever, and you know Gators, Florida. So here Max just kind of slowly floats down, and then the stairs do the cool little liquid metal thing, and they float. Really cool. Like I remember years ago watching, like as a kid watching the special effects, like the making of, and it's really good CGI for back in its day. But David comes out of the ship, and you have Big Al, who's just this big dude in overalls, and he sees the ship, and he just he's just frozen and says, "What the hell?" And then David walks up, and is like, "Can I borrow some change? You can phone my parents." The guy just gives him money, and David goes his thing. And then this family of yuppies comes up, and you know, you got the kids running around, and this guy is just Doesn't say a word. He's just in shock over what he just saw, and then the dad of this yuppie family is just like, we're just gonna walk around. This is definitely a lot more impressive than the Indian village in the back. And then finally, David goes back to the ship. He's like, "Excuse me," and then he takes off. They're just like, "Oh my god." He said he just wanted to phone home.
Yeah, the E.T. reference. Yeah, it was good.
I love it. And then, "Hey, Bruto, oink oink, too many Twinkies." He's like, "What?" My little child self loved that whole fucking scene. It's the funniest fucking thing.
Yeah, no, I like I said, I think the movie's great. It's totally just shut up and take my money. I totally see how this is a you film. And I can see why you love it and stuff like that, and I can see how it's developed you as a creative, so it's fun.
Want to know what I did? I'll ask if you did this. So as a kid watching this, when David is showing his room at the NASA facility and there's like all these toys and everything all scattered about, it's like, "Oh, this is for me." It's like, "Yep, it's for you." I remember as a kid seeing the Transformer, and I love Transformers, so once I got physical possession of it, I would always freeze frame to see like what the loot he had. So he had like a G.I. Joe, he had a Transformer, and like a baseball glove, and just dumb things like that I like, because I was like, I want that toy. I want that toy too. But
all right.
yes.
Well, so it's totally just shut up and take my money.
8,000,000%.
Yeah, totally agree. So in the spirit that you have presented us of childhood movies that shaped us, I have picked a movie from my childhood.
Okay.
So when I was a little Frosty, I had an older brother, and he showed me the coolest movie that I ever saw and blew my mind, and I was probably a little too young to watch. And that was the original Beastmaster. And
okay.
so this is available on Prime for free if you have Prime. And yeah, I'd love to revisit this movie. I watched it as a little kid, and it just blew my mind. This Conan guy could talk to animals, and I'm a huge animal lover. It like shaped what I wanted. I went to animal college because of this movie.
That's awesome.
And then yeah, he had like I learned falconry because of this movie.
So you know what's cool about something like that is how we are able to ingest forms of art and media and how it sort of influences. Like, you never know, like, you can go out tomorrow and be exposed to something that can just reshape you forever.
And yeah, but this movie is scary as crap if you're a kid. You don't remember it, do you?
I don't remember this movie. I think I've only seen it in maybe a couple
in the beginning. This woman like does this crazy ritual with a witch and like puts a child into a cow, and they cut the cow open to get the baby out. It's like dark Conan shit.
Wow.
They burn children and stuff in the movie.
Wow.
Or they try to. And I saw this and I was like 7. I was like, this is the scariest thing I have ever seen.
Yes.
And it's so cool because this guy rises these scary monsters that like they put like gross things into their ears and stuff, and then they turn into these crazy like creatures with like claws. I was terrified of these things. I can't wait to rewatch it.
Nice.
Can't wait for you to see it. And the whole time you do, imagine a 7-year-old Frosty.
Well, so we've discussed this movie ad nauseum on the show, but my version of that for me as a kid was RoboCop. So
yeah.
that here's
I saw RoboCop too early as well.
Yeah,
but this movie I think is, I mean, apart from no, it's on par with RoboCop.
Okay.
But this one is more Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah, it's different type.
But and then it's also got this cute thing with the animals and stuff like that, like Kodo and Podo. So it's almost got like the Disney characters in there as well. And yeah, I love it. This movie's so close to my heart. It's such a good movie in my opinion. Well, hopefully I haven't seen it in years. Anyway, so that's my pick for next week.
Nice.
Tell us what you guys thought of Flight of the Navigator, and then watch Beastmaster and join us on our 101th episode.
Yes. 101th. I like that.
101.
Stealing that.
I have a question for you. This isn't a segment. I just interested to know your thoughts.
Okay.
So this file it under rant, if you will.
Okay.
What is if you could have one thing from fiction,
Mm-hmm.
what would it be? But here's the limitations.
Mm-hmm.
You have the limitations of the thing. So if you say like a Green Lantern ring,
Right.
are you really like immune to fear? Do you have the willpower to
Right.
do it? If, like me, I would go Mjolnir, but come on, I'm not going to be able to pick up Mjolnir.
Right.
So, like,
Hmm.
you can have anything, lightsaber, whatever.
No, I don't want a lightsaber.
Portal gun. I can give you mine if you want.
Yeah, you do yours. My brain's going. Like, well, if I got this, and I can do this, and then I'm trying to figure out how I can like maximize this thing. So,
I thought about how I can maximize it. Definitely.
Don't say the TARDIS. Don't say the TARDIS.
No.
Okay, good.
I want the Mobius chair. Hear me out.
Nope,
I enjoy a good sit.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
And it's the ultimate sit. You sit, and then like
you know things.
You know everything, so you're a god now.
Right.
The chair sustains you forever, so you never need to poop, eat, drink, anything. You never age.
Right.
So I just chill forever in a chair knowing everything. I can go anywhere, do basically anything I want. And I do this anyway with most of my free time. I go on to Google, I'm like, hey Google, blah 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 blah. Now I have ultimate Google. And I can I'm pretty sure I can watch anything. And so I'm just gonna chill and watch endless Mandalorian or something.
It sounds like a cooler MODOK if you really dissected it at its core. You know what, Frosty? For you, I will try to integrate some type of Mobius chair device into Quantum, and it can be like the thing that you can achieve. And actually, my brain's already starting to chunk all the numbers in my head as to how to get it to work.
Yeah, I was watching a video about most powerful things, and I was like, yeah, the Mobius chair beats the shit out of everything. And I just thought about how much I enjoy just chilling and watching stuff. And now I never have to go to dialysis again. It's not that different to dialysis because I can never get up.
Right.
Because the second I get up, I give up everything.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to get up. I sound like the laziest person on the planet. Yeah, I never have to get up, and I can just chill.
You just make little...
Yeah, I can go anywhere. It doesn't matter. But I mean, why bother? I would just go into a point between all of space and time, and then I could just watch TV and Google shit for fun.
Right.
And I mean, if I want to hang out with someone, I'll bring them into my little bubble and hey man, what we got going on? But the thing is, you're so powerful, I don't even have to. I can just be like, well, what is Cap up to? Oh, that's cool. Good for him.
Didn't Batman relinquish the power of the Mobius chair at one point?
He got it because it was in there. Each of them became gods, and Batman became the god of knowledge.
Is that how 52 concluded?
Something they did Rebirth. It all rams together. The old ladies aren't working today. We're on a break. Anyway, so
if I were God, I'd love the Speed Force. I think that'd be great.
Okay, not really a physical thing. I meant like an item.
So physical thing.
So the advantage of the
I would like
is it works on anyone.
You know, it'd be fun. I like the Scarab.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I take that.
The problem with the Scarab though is unless I guess you can specify you want the blue Scarab.
Right.
But if you don't get the blue one and you just got a Scarab, is they take you over.
Right.
Remember, you're basically just along for the ride.
Right.
Yeah. They turn you into a hero, which then turns you against the world that you're in. But the blue Scarab has been reprogrammed. So yeah, you'd have to specify blue Scarab. But blue Scarab is good. I agree.
Yeah.
You have armor that takes care of everything again.
Right.
And yeah, you got a buddy to talk to, and that's a good one. That is a good one.
Yeah. Plus, it's sort of like ninjas, no, not ninja, but like cyborg powers too, where you can just like
Yeah,
like big guns. I like that. Just
yeah. There's a
I
lot. Yeah, that's a good one.
so
The Mobius chair is more powerful, but I think if that one does have a downside, it's almost like you're too powerful. You're essentially like you've gained godhood at that
right.
point.
And what happens when you attain godhood? You just want to watch the Gilmore Girls on rerun and just be left alone in
That's
your
what
god
I would
dimension.
do. I
But
mean,
you can watch every probability of the Gilmore Girls. One where
and like I'm pretty sure with tech that advanced, I could just be like cheeseburger. But I don't even have to if I don't want to. But like why not? Like maybe I could just experience the feeling of cheeseburger.
right. So I'm more techie based, so I would like to just have the cool suit and like zip around, and, like fly through space and shit, and go pew
Mine
pew.
is tech based. It's super
Well,
advanced
it's
tech.
super advanced tech, but yeah, I like the mobility. I like being able to get
I
up.
can get around too. I just go, I want to be there, and then I'm there. Like, yeah. And I can do it through time and space.
Right.
Or I could just probably exist in my own dimension. Yeah, it's such a powerful thing.
Right.
But I just love the idea that you've given me this all-powerful device, and what do? Just sit there and watch endless Mandalorian while eating cheeseburgers.
That's
but that
perfect.
sounds good. Yeah,
That sounds great. To teach
Yeah.
their own. Like,
Yeah, like you know what? He's doing what he wants.
Right.
Good for him.
Shall we dive into some battle nerds? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, battle nerds. Yeah, so battle nerds. We have originally a sheet of 100 characters. I think we're down to like 42 or something.
Mm.
And we random roll to see which character we get. We battle it out. We have to come up with a convincing argument as to why our character will win. A couple of rules: we're allowed to pick any version of the character, and we're kind of loose on interpretations and things. But Cap rolled up Powerful, and I rolled up Funny because it kind of happened on with the Mila Kunis thing. So he's kind of trending at the moment. Is Ben Grimm, also known as the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. But I'm torn on this one because this is two of my all-time favorite characters battling out. So whoever wins, I'm going to be like, yay. And whoever loses, I'm like, no. Oh, last week we had He-Man, and you picked Injustice He-Man versus Naruto, and I picked Anime Naruto. Naruto on Twitter took an early lead, and a couple of people were also messaging saying Naruto, and then He-Man went Shazam, and then he turned it around, and he won both the Facebook poll and the YouTube poll. The Twitter poll. And so He-Man survives. Naruto is knocked out. So He-Man goes on. He is now in like 4th place or whatever with 1 win.
Okay.
This is Cap. And yeah. So
long may he.
I mean, he did kind of annihilate me with going Injustice with the powers of Shazam, but fair enough.
Murder all anime characters. Don't give them an inch of wiggle room. That is
right, so
moving forward.
What is your version of Power Girl?
So I'm going to go with the Karen Starr version of Power Girl.
Okay.
This was it post Flashpoint, so I guess the most current-ish version of Power Girl.
Yeah.
The cousin of.
You can even do an amalgam of her. I mean,
she's had different.
She's had such a history, but I do think when you think Power Girl, you do kind of have a version of her in mind. But go ahead.
So, just an amalgam of Power Girl. So she is Kryptonian. So she's got Superman powers. Weak to kryptonite, the usual Superman-y skill sets. Isn't she slightly more powerful than Superman? Because the female Kryptonian.
There's been some debate that she's like stronger and stuff. In my head, the main difference is she's more of a brawler than Superman. She's less afraid to hold back. She's very confident of herself. I mean, he has two, but he's more the Boy Scout.
Yeah.
She's more like the Thing.
Right.
And but she's also beautiful, and she has a tech company.
Yeah,
and all that.
intelligent, very very intelligent.
Yeah, she's super intelligent.
Right.
Yeah, she's yeah. But anyway, go on.
So, what version of Thing are you going with? Are you going with?
Okay, so here's the problem I ran into is as much as I love the Thing, and
Hmm.
yeah, he might be able to like fight her a little bit. He's not beating Power Girl. She's She's Kryptonian.
Right.
He's nowhere near that level. So then I was like, well, shit, I need a version of the Thing that can throw down. The problem is like I can't scale to Power Girl without absolutely destroying her.
Right.
So the two versions I've got is that Thing where he has the powers of all of the Fantastic Four.
Okay.
And so, but even that combined is not going to beat Power Girl because she's Superman power.
Right.
So she's just too fast, too strong, and so like I said, well, what is the most powerful version of the Thing? Oh yeah, Infinity Thing. So Infinity Thing is crystalline looking. He's the Infinity Gems merged with the Thing, so that's why he's all rocky because he's got the gems as his body now.
Interesting.
And he's very cold and distant, and I destroy Power Girl now because I can just.
I mean,
reality is mine.
There are the options. So
I mean,
when did this version
why
of Thing come out?
Infinity Thing wins is because I just reshape reality so that Power Girl never existed, or I don't know. I make it so that you don't want to fight me because Power Girl's awesome. So yeah, I make it so you don't want to fight me, and you just go our superhero on the other end of the galaxy, and you're friends with me, and that's why I win. You never even she was like, oh, I gotta throw down, but like, you know what? That's a dumb idea. Hey, you're my pal. We high five, and then Power Girl goes off into the sunset to continue being Power Girl. And somehow she ends up with a boyfriend named Frosty. The end.
Nice. And they go on to have beautiful babies. Yeah, I guess.
And also, Frosty doesn't have kidney disease.
Well, I guess that's that. So
why can Power Girl beat the Thing?
So when did this version of Thing come out? I've never heard of. I'm not complaining. Just
in the comics a while ago. I didn't hear about him. I just Googled him.
Okay. That's cool. So it's like one arm, like the red stone.
No, it's like he looks like the Thing. He's just crystalline.
Okay.
And like he shimmers in the different colors. And then he's basically all powerful, but he doesn't have Ben Grimm's personality.
No.
He's this kind of cold, distant god, essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, look, I'll go under that because that's blowing you out of the water.
No. It's fine. I mean, that's this is what we rolled. Damn it. Because it is one of those things. You're going up against a brawler Superman who doesn't really have his restraint. So yes, you're allowed to up to whatever scale you need to defeat her. I mean, that's the whole point of the game.
I know, but it's too powerful.
Good, but that's whatever, man.
Why can Power Girl beat that?
So if is he able to like lose the stones? I guess because so you're dealing with somebody who's so fast, or working on the Planck scale in speed. And I don't think, even with the Infinity Stones, that Ben Grimm would have the capacity to react that quickly to somebody who's.
But he can because he controls time.
Oh,
so and he knows what you're gonna do before you know it because it's the mind. Yeah, I'm too powerful. Remember he defeated Concepts at that point. Galactus did in comics,
right?
So yeah, I mean, comic book. That's what I'm saying. It's too grand. Like the only way we could bring this down to a level is if I go from Amalgam. I still struggle, but I can fight you a little bit better until you start using super speed.
Right.
So my only hope there is I don't know if he has this, but what if hanging out with what if I can talk to Reed? Can I talk to Reed?
You want somebody in your ear? Sure, you can talk to Reed.
Okay, cool. So I'm like, I gotta take her, and then I power up, and I'm all of them together, and I'm fighting her. It's clobbering time, but it's not enough. So then I talk to Reed, and then Reed's like, "Well, she appears to be getting her power from the sun." Blah, 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 blah. And then I use Sue's power to turn her invisible, so she can no longer absorb solar radiation. And
Ooh,
then I just tank her until she drops.
there you go. See, that's better. I knew it was in there.
I just thought of that.
There you go. Bravo. Um, yeah, well done. And for those of you who are watching who will watch, I will have the post up on our Facebook and on our Twitter, and you vote to see who wins a round of Battle Nerds between.
Wait, what's your counter argument to turning invisible?
So with that, she's not. So she's cut off from her power source, but she's running on battery at that point, so she can still brawl. Now, if they were to, oh well, it appears that maybe if we try to use the wavelength of a red star, maybe that will do this, and depower her.
Well, it's still the same thing. It doesn't really drain them. They still run on batteries at that point.
Right, but it still can. Ben Grimm tank it, and granted, she's on borrowed time, and it reminds me.
Yeah, I could see the comic or her being like, no, and then realizing he thinks he's won. He thinks he can't beat me. Puts it all into one punch and then shatters the universe. Because it's fucking Superman.
Right. And she would do that because she's, and just explode him with a punch.
Yeah, and then the next comic is like her working with the Fantastic Four to put the universe back together or something, like against an even bigger threat.
Right. They're coming through the breach.
They all live happily, and then she goes home to her boyfriend named Frosty.
Yes.
The end.
Where they have beautiful babies. So yes, go ahead. We will feel free to vote on our Twitter and Facebook. Reach out to us personally if you'd like. Let us know who you think wins the death battle between Power Girl and the Thing, or Ben Grimm's Thing. Want to roll for the next one?
I did. I was tempted to pick Sharon Ventura.
You should,
because of everything like was going on, but I mean, she did crush adamantium. Come on.
Right.
Anyway.
Stop being woke, Frosty.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Our next one, I completely forgot. Okay. What's your roll?
I got a 22.
All right. Oh, I still have the sheet up. I do. Yay. Oh, you got one of your faves, Optimus Prime.
Yes.
Reroll for me. Versus. This is interesting. Returning champ, Rogue.
Oh.
So I'm gonna go with animated X-Men Rogue right off the bat.
Okay.
Now,
I guess the real question would be, would she be able to absorb Optimus Prime's power?
Probably not. I don't know. I mean, maybe in something where she touches the Matrix, but I don't know.
I mean, he just doesn't flash that to anybody.
The old Sentinel, basically.
Right. I would argue that Optimus Prime is a little bit more durable than your average Sentinel, but I mean, we'll see.
Sure, but I mean, that's what come to mind as soon as I thought this. She'd be like, "Oh, what are you, some kind of new Sentinel, sugar?" And like,
one shall stand, shake.
Threat. Yeah.
One shall fall, shrink. Yes.
Anyway, so tune into that next week as well. That'll be fun.
That'll be cool.
And then also, vote as to who you thought won Power Girl or the Thing. I will go with the amalgam thing rather than Infinity Thing. And then what else we got? We did our pitches. Did we get through everything? Yeah, we got about 15 minutes left. So didn't think we got through everything that fast.
Wow, record speed.
What we got? I always got notes. Here's a question for you. So I've been seeing this on Twitter. People are upset about Spider-Man. There's all these new versions of Spider-Man as they've been in the Spider-Verse.
Right.
And people are complaining, saying, well, what does Spider-Man have? Because they all have the same powers Spider-Man has. but they've got something else like, oh, I got electricity powers, or I got natural webbing, and I got,
Right.
and they're all are like, I'm Spider Man, but I got a robot,
Mm.
and whatever. I've got armor. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, everybody knows that the one true Spider-Man is the one with the big bracelet that he uses to summon the Megazord. Like that is the only that is truly the superior Spider-Man. I mean, there's base Spider-Man, and of course, people will want to see more than just your base Spider-Man. So that's when you start branching out and coming up with new versions of Spider-Man. So it's accessorized. I don't know. I guess it doesn't bother me that much.
It doesn't bother me, and here's why: because they've been doing that same thing with base Spider Man, as you call it. It's just Peter Parker. He gets new powers all the time. He
Remember when he
usually
had four
returns.
arms? Like,
Yeah, well, it's comics. He gains new powers and then he returns to classic,
right,
and then he gains new powers and then he returns to classic,
right,
and then that is his whole thing.
right,
When they create a new Spider-Man, they go, okay, he's like Spider-Man, but he's got this,
right,
and of course they're gonna get extra powers,
right,
and he's going to get extra powers, but he's just going to always return to original model.
right,
And that's because people want to see original model.
right,
Don't look at it as it's a Peter versus this, or this character is better than that character because he's got extra powers.
right.
The other one is the OG original flavor. It's always going to be what you want.
Right.
And it's weird to do a comparison thing, but why doesn't he get new powers?
You're you're
He's gonna.
you're missing the point, guys.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like for a while it was like Doctor Octopus Spider Man, and then it returned back to Spider Man,
Look,
and
Malibu
then
Malibu Stacy has a new hat.
yeah,
Uh,
I mean there was a while where he was ultra powerful. He had like he had the Phoenix Force and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens all the time. So
Right.
yeah, that's what I think anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. It's shut up. Quit complaining.
Okay, here's another one for you. We got into a long debate about this.
All right.
Death of Gwen Stacy. Controversial, like, because people have been debating whether what killed her for the longest time.
Right.
And I got into an argument with some people that were like, it's not controversial at all. She snapped her neck. And they were like mad at me for this.
No, she
And I was
cracked.
like,
She cracked her head, yo.
and well, the thing is though, like, I don't. I'm just talking about the controversy. I never even gave my opinion.
Right.
But the four theories are Green Goblin killed her already, or she died of shock on the way down, or she died because there was the little snap when he caught her, and her whiplash and her neck snapped,
Right.
or because he hits her with the glider. When he hit her, she died.
Okay.
And so it's like, well, what happened? And these guys were like, oh, it was the neck snap. You're an idiot for thinking otherwise. I don't necessarily disagree, but you can't argue. The shock thing doesn't make sense because she was unconscious.
Right.
So that one doesn't make any sense. But they did mention it in a comic, and that's the whole thing. They were like, oh yeah, she died. I read that she died from shock on the way down, and then her neck snapped. I have no disagreement that the neck snap, but that could have happened after she was dead. And so
she died of a broken heart, Frosty.
Well, no, but she could have died from. She could have been dead when he had her. He said she was unconscious, but she could have been dead.
Right.
Or the impact could have killed her.
Right.
And so it's this like argued death. In comics, they did say like Iron Man and Captain America were saying like, oh, she died from the neck snap. But then again, in another, they said, oh, this. And then if you listen to the artist, he's like, I don't even remember why I wrote snap. That was weird. And so like it's like what's the real deal? What are your thoughts?
I thought she just snapped her neck. And in the movie, God, it was in the Andrew Garfield movie when they showed that scene. It was
Where the hand coming towards her.
Oh God, because hits him, but I think she just really quick, the whiplash, she cracks her head on the floor real quick. Oh, it's just brutal to watch.
Well, it
But
is one of the. It changed the comic book industry. Like that moment, it was like one of the defining moments.
right. Um, so, but prior to that, it was always, from what I understood, that she had snapped her neck because of the whiplash. And
Yeah,
that's okay enough to me. The whole point is that she died and went on to become Gwenpool. That's the point.
we were talking
It's
about Gwenpool in the chat this week. You were surprisingly absent from the chat this week. I missed you, but
uh,
yeah, we were talking about Gwenpool because someone, fellow nerd Adrian asked like, "What's the deal with Gwenpool?" And then I was like, "Oh, I'm glad you asked." Like,
Frosty springs into action.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, the whole point is here's your core Gwen Stacy. What accessories can we? What new hat can we put her in to market to new people? Again, Malibu Stacy's got a new hat. Um, yeah, she's been Spider Gwen, Gwenpool, freaking Hulk Gwen.
Well, you know why
Fucking
she was created, right?
probably to why?
And they did a Spider. They were doing Spider Gwen. That was their thing, right?
Right,
That was the character.
right.
And they did in one episode, in one comic, there was a cover,
Hmm.
and they just for fun for the cover,
Right.
they just had her dressed as several different Marvel. Each variant was a different. It was Gwen something, Gwen Captain America,
Right.
Gwen this, Gwen that, Gwen that, and it wasn't meant to be taken serious.
Right.
And then someone went to a Comic Con or something that worked for Marvel, and was like, there are so many Gwenpools right now. Everybody was cosplayed as Gwenpool,
Mm.
and so they like anyone, you realize, oh, this is an audience,
Right.
so they tapped into that audience, and it became a popular character.
Yeah, that's amazing. Give the people
She
what they
the
want.
story is she's one of these cosplayers, like sort of
Mm.
from our world,
Mm.
and she's in the world of comics, and she knows she's in the world of comics, so she treats it like Grand Theft Auto.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a
That,
kind of fun character.
that's awesome.
I don't know if I've read a couple of it. It's not really my thing, but it's a fun character. I can see the appeal.
Right.
But yeah.
That's all I
Wow,
gotta
how
say.
did we get off on a Gwenpool tangent?
I mean, arguing about how the fictitious character died to go on to be remarketed with a different hat.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, yeah. It's happened with a lot of characters. I mean, Jason Todd.
Yeah.
That one was an interesting one.
So what
What did you like? Red Hood. What did you think of Red Hood?
I actually in the movie Under the Red Hood or Under the Hood or Red Hood.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking
with
about. The animated.
yeah, fantastic movie. Loved it. I love that depiction of Red Hood. I loved it. I'm surprised my youngin hasn't come out yet. So my youngling went to Six Flags yesterday, and she went wearing her Damien Robin hoodie that she has, and
Yeah.
she wanted to go and take pictures with the superheroes while they were out with her Robin hoodie. So that was her goal yesterday. When I peeked in there this morning to see if she was still kicking, I saw a Nightwing shirt on the ground. So she has good taste. So what I like now about Jason Todd is that him and Damien are just how they butt heads. It's fun. Like I like that we got that out of it because it's character. It's fun for me. I like that. I like seeing them bicker and argue with each other.
We watched the other day, and maybe because my expectations were so low, I enjoyed it more than I did the first time. Was the animated Injustice movie? The first time I watched it, I was annoyed because I think I was comparing it to the comic, and which was very, very good. And this just has too much in too small a space.
Yeah, and that's the problem with these DC animated movies because the Injustice movie is just too much.
Yeah, some of them are really good because after that I watched Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay, and it was fantastic. Have you seen that one?
I think I have. I've seen one of the
It's
animated.
the one where it's one of the interesting ones because there's no Batman and no Superman, And which is like, when the hell? I feel like they're like, well, we better put Batman and Superman in this. It is a DC movie, you know.
Right.
And like, and then you're like, you have other characters, right, guys?
Yeah.
But this is just the Suicide Squad,
I'm fine with that.
and they go on a quest. Amanda Waller's skinny, and they make a comment about that, but then you find out it's because she has cancer,
Oh.
and she does a quest off the books for the Suicide Squad. They've got to go get the a card which is held by Fate, that is a get out of hell for free card. And so like they debate heaven and hell, like is it real and stuff, but it is held by Fate, so it could be real. And then it turns out from the Flashpoint movie, Zoom is still alive because he brought the Speed Force into himself when Batman put the bullet through his head. But he's like on borrowed time, like he shows he's still got the hole in his skull.
Oh, shit.
And so he's like the main villain. He's trying to get it because he knows he's about to die, but he's slowed time for himself. He's stretched that out into like months.
That's awesome.
And yeah, and then so he's trying to get it, and then Vandal Savage also wants to get it because he wants to like implant it into his body so that removing it would kill him, which would just get him out of hell, so no one could ever take it off him.
I thought he couldn't die anyways.
Huh?
I thought Vandal Savage couldn't die anyways.
He's immortal, but he's not. What do you call it? Invulnerable.
Okay.
So yeah, so he's that, and so like you have these three powers going at Vay for it. It's a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, like it's like, and it's just Suicide Squad, because the previous Suicide Squad animated movie was good, but it was about Batman too.
I think I've seen that one. Because I've definitely seen one of the Suicide Squad movies. I haven't seen the
They're both really good.
I did enjoy the one that I saw, and I think that was the one with Batman. It's been so.
This one has Bronze Tiger in it, which is cool. And it's mostly a story though about Deadshot. He's the main character. Harley Quinn is in it. That one character, blanking on his name, he's like a lizard guy and he shoots acid. And who else? Oh, Killer Frost, Banshee's in it. There's a lot of good characters, like you said. And my favorite version of Fate, I forget his name, but he's a male stripper. And he was like, yeah, it was like the sweetest gig ever. I put on the helmet and I'm Fate. And he's like dancing to like male stripper moves while in Fate. And he's like, and he thought he had a crush on Banshee and stuff. It's great.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's on HBO at the moment if you want to watch it.
We'll check it out.
Highly recommend. I forget where we got off on this tangent, but those are good movies.
I will watch them.
In my opinion, there's only been one bad Suicide Squad movie, and I think it was mostly because it was tampered by the studio.
Yeah. The David Ayer one? The Ayer cut?
Yeah, but I would like to know what he originally had thought, you know? But the issue was, right? So he made his movie, and then the people that cut the trailer did it in a very slapstick way with
Bohemian Rhapsody,
the Queen song.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Oh shit, our movie isn't that," and so they made them remake the movie to make it more slapstick.
Right.
But you can just watching that movie, it's just an editing nightmare. I mean, the bit with the unicorn, for example, is a perfect example.
I don't even remember.
Oh, like, so what's his name? Is it Captain Boomerang? One of the characters. He has a unicorn in his.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then they do. The point is you show it unicorn, you reference it again. He pulls it out again. We see the unicorn again, and then he gets shot there. And then you're like, oh, the unicorn. That's funny. It saved him.
Right.
And then he just pulls out money, and that's what saved him.
Oh.
And I was like, no. And that's my point. Like, they introduced the goofy gimmick of the unicorn, but it didn't jive with the editing of, it was money.
The whole movie felt like the third act of a movie.
Yeah, it's just, it was an editing nightmare. It was, definitely not something that I would be interested to know what his original cut was. I would like them to do a Snyder cut of it. That would be great.
I mean, we got the Snyder cut. Give us
Yeah,
an
do
Ayer
an air
cut.
cut.
Yeah, do the Ayer
Yeah,
cut. They've
yeah.
talked about that before.
It's been there's restore the air, thing and all
Why
that.
can't the Snyder fans just show some love for the Ayer cut? Do they?
They do.
Okay.
That's definitely something that they want to see as well. But yeah, I mean, I agree. It would be cool. I would like to see that movie in his original vision because I like the director and everything like that.
Right.
So.
We got a couple minutes left. Doing anything fun
Yeah,
today?
I'm sure you've got a rant or two.
My goodness, what have we been doing again?
Well, here's a good idea. For the last couple of minutes, let's reminisce on some previous episodes. This is our 100th episode spectacular.
No. I
Celebrate good times. Come on. I will. Remember that Simpsons episode there? He presses the play and then does that. He's like, I will.
Right. So here, I will show you my Pitch Nerds folder with all of my Pitch Nerds crap. Here's
mine's all digital.
Yeah, see, I like the old school. Just here's all my scribbles.
Yeah, it
a
makes
bunch
sense.
of Star Wars shit. Oh, the Star Wars shit. Yeah, here's my Nintendo Cinematic Universe, going through all that.
Well, what was your favorite pitch?
I think for how my brain reacted to it and kept reacting to it and kept just exploding upon it, I love the Nintendo Cinematic Universe. I love what I created with that. Just take all the lore and make it work. And then bring it back to its core of Nintendo, which is it's a family entertainment unit.
I think my favorite is the Terminator pitch I did.
That was a good one.
Also Elric, because Elric was fun. But Terminator, I thought I cracked it. Right. Because I think the issue is they keep remaking the same movie and expecting it to be as good as Terminator 2, and it's not.
Right.
And I just said, let's take that universe and continue the story.
Right.
But I did it in a way that kept the formula of robot in time kind of thing alive.
Right.
And I liked turning John Connor into this superhuman at the end. I just imagine the thing comes down and then he grabs it and then the liquid metal.
T-1000, yeah.
Yeah, because remember in my story, he merged with the T-1000.
Right.
It became like a symbiote for him.
Yeah. Cool idea, by the way. Really cool idea. Love it.
Yeah. That was a really fun one. I felt really creative. Also, the very first pitch, I have a soft spot for because it was the first time I ever like really sat down and did that.
Right.
And yeah, it was fun creating my own Jedi and I went with the whole Order 66 of like them being exterminated.
Right.
And then I added in some King Arthur with like the child drawing the sword from the stone and stuff like that. So that was a good one too.
No, that was fun. It all started with Star Wars. It all started with
Star Wars. It did. Yeah, and then I can't remember what we did. I think maybe Batman or something like that was our next one. Our next one is Superman. Do you have any ideas like what you want to see?
So mine, I'm calling it We the People versus Superman.
Oh, okay.
That's my. Yeah, I'm going with that.
Yeah,
infer
cool.
from that whatever you want to infer, but that would be what I would name it.
I'm torn because I'm tempted just to be like, haha, I'm gonna be crazy. I'll just do something crazy with the character and just be like Elseworld. But it's hard because he's been everywhere, so you can't you're like, oh, I'll do a Superman Conan story. Well, they did that. So it's kind of hard to come up with something original. So I don't know. I'll either do my ideal version or what he is in my head, or I'll do something that would piss off people, and I will be like, because nerds will be like, Superman wouldn't do that, and then I'll be like, I bet there's a comic where he has. I find that amusing.
Here's the Blue Boy Scout: truth, justice, and the American dream. Like that's Superman. So what I want to do with my pitch is dive more into that, because we've seen him beat the shit out of everything. Let's bring him down and just focus on his virtue. That's what makes him Superman. That's what makes him be the Boy Scout and that beacon of hope. So put him, loose framework for my idea is have Superman on trial and have Lex Luthor is going to be my overall villain and something else, but It's going to be Superman on trial. Allegedly, he committed a thing. There's all this stuff and witnesses and all these reports, and he, because of what he stands for, he knows that he has to surrender himself, even though there's no way that they can possibly contain him, really. Well, I suppose they could with like kryptonite and whatnot, but you see Superman actually surrender himself, and maybe they put him in like a red chamber, but not necessarily use kryptonite because he's cooperative, and just have him be essentially on trial for the virtue of his character, kind of thing is what I would go for.
Superman, but if he landed in England,
Yes.
in like the 1940s.
Yes.
And he's like, all right, Governor. And then he's like, I've got to go fight the Nazis.
Titty-o! We should probably wrap because people are starting to stir. For those who watched today, thanks for watching. For those who will tune in, thanks for watching. We do like to end the show with a nerdy quote by Mr. Frosty. Look forward to these.
All right. So I've said this quote before, but as it's our 100th episode, and I feel this quote really captures everything that we are as pitch nerds.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to reuse this one because it's our 100th episode. Also, make sure you tune in next week for our 101st episode.
Oh, that's so funny to me. It's so intentionally wrong. It's funny.
Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and reuse this quote again. Comic book guy, worst episode ever.